Hello, and thank you for joining me here today. Now, for the last few years, at the start of each new year, I've taken a little bit of time, a few days, to kind of think and pray and ask God for a word or a theme for the upcoming year for me. At the start of 2020, before anybody knew exactly what that year was going to look like, what sort of a year it would be, the word that I wrote down in my journal was preparation. And the impression that I had with it was that it would be a year not so much of action, but of getting ready for something, of putting myself into a position of readiness for whatever the next steps would be. And I split that into sort of physical, spiritual, emotional, what that meant for me in that year. And it kind of turned out to be pretty appropriate, really. It wasn't so much a year of action in a year full of lockdowns and not being able to do so much practical stuff. But anyway, I started praying about this year, this 2021, feeling a little bit nervous about what that word might end up being. Please, Lord, not lockdown. Sorry, everyone in the UK. But the more I prayed, the more one particular word kept just jumping into my head, and it was the word growth. Well, what does it mean to grow? I asked myself. I don't think that it was an endorsement to stop my diet, to grow physically. I'm not going to be getting any taller anytime soon. I think it was more a call to grow into my full potential. As a plant makes that effort to push up through the barrier of soil, to erupt into the sunlight, it emerges into a place where it has the potential to flourish, to become what it was made to be, to produce fruit, to grow stronger, with roots reaching deep into the ground to suck up water and nutrients. As I read the Bible each day, I try and pick out a verse or a passage or an idea from what I read that particularly jumps out on me, so that I have it in my mind to think about and meditate on through that day. And on the very first day of this year, that verse came from Psalm chapter 1, verse 3, and this is how it reads in the Passion Translation of the Bible. He or she will be standing firm, like a flourishing tree planted by God's design, deeply rooted by the brooks of bliss, bearing fruit in every season of his life. He is never dry, never fainting, ever blessed, ever prosperous. What an amazing outcome of growth that is, becoming not just a little plant, easily trampled on, easily overcome, but a great tree, flourishing in every season, seeing blessing and prosperity. It's a wonderful picture of what we can be when we sink our roots into God every day, drawing strength and power from him. The tallest trees, the biggest plants, they only become that way because of the deep, deep root structure that they have. And we can be the same. We need to sink our roots into God so that we can absorb everything into our lives and therefore grow. Psalm 1 puts that conclusion as a guarantee for anyone who follows after God's ways, who avoids the way of the wicked, and who takes pleasure in exploring the word of God and musing on it, meditating on it throughout their days. Growth, therefore, is possible at any time. It's not restricted to a time of our lives where things are going well. Regardless of how hard things may seem at the moment, we can continue to grow. In fact, it may be through situations that seem harder that we find the rate of growth in our lives to be accelerated, because it's often in those times that we do learn to rely more fully on God, to sink our roots more deeply into him, to turn more quickly, to cling on to the promises that the Bible offers. Now, I don't know if growth is a good word for you this year, if it's a good theme. It might just be something for me, but I really felt like it was important to share it with you, because regardless of whether it becomes your word for the year. It is something that is so important for all of us, especially because growing and developing, building ourselves up is not something that we need to stress about. One of my favorite passages in the Bible is found in John chapter 15, and it talks about Jesus being the true vine and us being the branches grafted into him. John chapter 15 verse 4 tells us, "Remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me." If we're going to grow this year, if we're going to develop, if we're going to become fruitful people, it's not down entirely to our own efforts. It's not something that we can achieve personally and later boast in, "Oh, look how much I've grown this year. I am the best branch and it was all down to me." That is not the truth of it at all. The only way that we're going to see growth, the only way that we will bear fruit, that we will mature, that we will become the people that God has called us to be, the only way is by remaining in Jesus. It's by connecting to him. It's by allowing his life and his love to flow through us and into the things that we do and the people that we encounter. It's only in that position where we will start to grow and to flourish, to become that tree planted by the water, never dry, never fainting, ever blessed, ever prosperous. Dig your roots into God this year. Grow, not through your own efforts, but by remaining in him, by drawing closer to him, by making that your number one priority in 2021. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I'll see you next time.